Hey, what's happening YouTube? What's happening guys? How's everyone doing? Wait, hold on a second. Check one thing, guys. Can you guys hear me on YouTube? Or was it using my other mic? Let me quickly just check. Because I've turned my other mic off and it seems like it's not picking up the audio anymore. Mic. Let me quickly just check. Because I've turned my okay, it's working. Perfect. Lovely stuff. So yeah, going back to oh, hold on a second. So yeah, going back to our charts now, right? We have to understand, guys, what's happening at the moment, right? We have to kind of like see what's happening. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. Look, at this point now, this area over here, we started to form some sort of like a double bottom at this point here, right? And then from there, we got like a massive explosive move to the top side. At this point, we understand the sellers were in control. This was the second time we retested this area. At this point, we understand that this area is very strong, right? Sellers again took control over here. So now, what did we do? Sellers actually did try to break this area, kind of like grabbing liquidity below this, because we understand, right? A lot of buy orders have been executed here, and then the stop losses always go below the structure at that point, right? So price kind of like came down, grabbing the liquidity, doing some sort of deeper retest, and at this point now we ended up stopping out all the buy orders. So let's quickly just mark this area as well right here. So this is where we stopped out all the buy orders, and look what's happened, right? Such a massive engulfing bearish candle. At that point, next one broke the lows and started to fake the whole candle out. So now two things can happen. At this point now, we're kind of going to start forming up new lows around this area, because we do understand this is an area of interest. But now, if we do start clearing this area, then next area is all the way up here, right? And then once we do clear that area, then obviously we're approaching our daily highs. So now is a game of probability. Because we are looking to cash in on those sells, I would not really be interested in any of those sell positions. I mean, any of those buy positions. I'm not looking for any longs today, because there is no bottom wick on the daily candle, right? So when we do get that rejection, the rejection will be very massive. And at this point now, look what's happened, right? So this was your first leg down, this was your leg back up, another leg down, and at this point now, because we created a new low, price kind of needs to come back all the way to the highs. At this point now, kind of like form another double top all the way to the top side, because you got to understand, where did the explosive move start from? The explosive move actually started from here. So this is the swing high that we need to look out for at the moment, right? So this is where the sellers should take control from. Every time you approach this area, sellers need to take control, because this is kind of what your daily highs are as well, right? And so we are playing a game of probability. So at this point now, we're being very patient, we're gonna have discipline, and we're gonna just wait for price to come over to our area. So that's another thing about trading, right? You don't want to chase the price, you want the price to come to your area. So we're basically going to start marking out the areas that we are interested in. At that point, we're just gonna wait for price to come to our areas, right? So now we understand that if we do start clearing this, we do have a nice range to the top side at this point now, and the range to the top side is about 50 pips. So now at this point, let's say looking at the 30 minutes quickly, let's see if do we have anything to the left. Okay, this becomes some sort of consolidation that we're within this consolidation at this point now, right? So let's see, this was London. So London has such an explosive move up. So we do understand that ever since then, we've actually been in this consolidation at this point. So there is a lot of liquidity to the top side as well as the downside, right? So this might potentially be your liquidity grab at this point, right? So we need to have that question as well. Is this your liquidity grab at this point? Where is that shape? I want to make it look cool. You know what? Because we trade in dollars, we're gonna kind of like put a dollar right here. So this will be our question, right? Can you have any sort of text on here? Yeah, so this is the question we're looking to ask at this point now. Above the daily highs, we have liquidity because we have been within this consolidation for so long, right? Usually what gold likes to do is it will make that leg back up, it will consolidate, kind of like grab liquidity. At that point, we can kind of like have some sort of retracement back, right? Kind of like correcting this whole move. But look how overbought gold is at this point now. Would you really want to buy gold at this point when you don't have a bottom wick on the daily time frame as well? It can very well work, right? Because it is a volatile pair. But me personally, I'm not interested in buying gold whatsoever, so I'm looking for those short positions today. That's what I'm interested in, kind of looking to see if we can form a double top over here around this area, because we do have liquidity on the top of this area as well. This is also your daily highs. So there we go. Look, at this point now, this area is starting to hold once again. Look, at this point now, how many rejections do we have? Numerous rejections around here, right? Numerous rejections. And at the moment, we are still within that downtrend. So like, you know, we're forming lower lows and lower highs. So this is our first swing high. This is a swing high we should be watching out for. This is the high that we are interested in, right? This is our swing high that we want to see. Okay, what is price going to do around this area? Does it want to break this area, kind of like grab this liquidity, form another swing high, another higher high, at that point start dropping? Or does it want to go up a little bit and then after that we can start dropping? So that's kind of what our job is as traders, to now figure out, and we can do that with, like, you know, confirmations and confluences, right? But I'm really not interested in any sort of long positions today, that's for sure. But we are going to be patient traders and just wait. Honestly, at this point now, price is starting to approach this area, which is right there. This is when our session starts, so we have nothing to worry about so far. Very explosive candle at this point now. So the more it moves up, before our session starts, the better for us, right? At that point, the aggressive the drop will be as well. There we go. Very heavy push at this point now. Let's also just look at Forex Factory. I think everything is clean. Yeah, pretty much everything looks clean. This one, oh, we do have this though. That's literally all day as well. I think that starts later though, but it doesn't have any sort of timing, does it? Treasury, currency report, Fed shit. And then you have a USD orange folder as well. That's again of the NYSE open. So we are actually good. So this is great now, guys. This is actually very great for us. At this point now, what gold can do is it can kind of like go all the way to the top side, right? Kind of like retest those highs and kind of even form a new high. At that point, if we get rejection from up there, that'll be the best thing ever. Because look, one thing we gotta understand, right? It is a Friday. It needs to kind of like form those new highs at this point, right? For the weekly candle. So now if the weekly candle can kind of like form those new highs, and then at that point we see a rejection, we can most definitely take it down. And we have a lot of liquidity at this point as well, and we understand that we don't trade this candle because this candle usually likes to grab liquidity. So let's see what happens. Okay, let's do magic keys ready to go. We are ready to do some damage. So at the moment, the momentum is to the top side, so you want to see the momentum start to exhaust in order for the shorts to play out. Until then, you just gotta let it go. But one thing though, something like this really does make me happy, because the more of an aggressive push that we get to the top side, the bigger of a that's how much of a drop we're gonna get as well. The drop will be very massive, guys. Give me a second, guys. Let me just get some water, man. It's coffee. So yeah, the more it pushes up, the more it will push down. So we can take it either way. But again, as I said, guys, we're just, so like everyone on YouTube, we're looking to just like execute on one setup today. It is a Friday. So obviously, in order for us to execute on that one setup, right, we want to catch the highest probability setup. So And also we want to catch a setup which can potentially give us a really massive run up, potentially about 100 pips. So now again, can you really logically see that happening with a buy position after gold has pushed up so much on the daily candle and there's also no bottom wick? Logically, no, it doesn't make sense, right? So because we're sticking to that one trade, we need to kind of like wait for our shorts to play out. So that's where we just have to have patience and wait for those confirmations, right? So any area that becomes some sort of like rejection area, we're gonna kind of like start marking it out and see if we get like a second rejection from that area as well. So at this point now, let's see if this can become that rejection area, and then we will mark it out, right? In order for this to become a rejection area, you want to see a massive bearish candle at this point now starting to violate all the lows, and you want to see like clear momentum to the downside. Look, you've tapped this resistance area up here as well on the 4-hour. You can see price has rejected from this area, numerous rejections actually. But let's see if this does become some sort of rejection area on our current sort of time frame at the moment, our current structure as well. Okay, if we see a nice bearish candle, at that point what we can do is we can kind of mark this as one of our areas of interest now, right? So cool, price is okay. So now we understand that sellers are sitting up here. That's great. So now if we get those pullbacks to this area, at that point we can take it all the way back down. Why not? Our session starts in another 6 minutes. Let's see if we can start forming a double top up here now. First rejection. Look what's happened, tapped into this, and now you're starting to kind of like push all the way down, right? In order for this area to hold at this point now, you want to see a second retest as well. Until then, this is just a pullback. In order for this to be a rejection, you kind of want price to come back up here. Another massive rejection, you want to see a lot of selling momentum up here. At that point, we can take it all the way back down. We understand that there was a lot of liquidity here as well. Why was this so explosive? Because we have been ranging literally the whole time, right? So like obviously you got to understand when price will break all of these highs and grab all of this liquidity. So many buy orders have been executed here as well. You got to understand how this is how people trade consolidation, right? They put their buy orders on the top of the range. So as soon as the buy orders get executed, you get all of those stop orders getting stopped out, all of those stop losses being hit, and then at that point there's so much liquidity in the market, price will just explode all the way to the top side. So this does not tell me anything. This doesn't tell me that gold wants to push up. It just shows me that this is what liquidity is. Liquidity is liquidity is very powerful. That's all I know. So let's see what happens now. We got another 4 minutes left for our session to open. Got one rejection from here now. Let's see what happens. Most definitely, if we can catch sells from here, this will be one of our key areas though, this swing high, because this was your daily high as well. So this is most definitely a significant area, because from here daily started to reject, right? So you want to keep this area in your mind as well. So usually how gold moves is, if it wants to break a certain area, it will close above, then you'll see some sort of pullback candles, maybe 1 or 2 bearish candles, and then at that point you'll see one massive engulfing candle, kind of like taking it all the way back up. Let's also mark when our session starts. So this is when our session starts. So as soon as we start approaching our session, we can expect those explosive moves either to the top side or the downside. Yeah, this is when London started to push up, and then after that we started to consolidate within this area, this range that we have over here. So then we formed a swing high all the way up there as well. At this point now, we broke the swing high, kind of like grabbing all this liquidity. And so at this point, honestly, when our session starts, if we do see a massive engulfing bullish candle printing out, at that point price have more range to the top side anyway, right? Because we understand gold likes to go literally to the T. And so it can go up to 1800. From there we can get a rejection. So See, what it does is it will break above the zone. Next will be a bearish candle, and then this candle will end up engulfing everything to the left. At that point, you'll have more range to the top side as well. I've seen this happen so many times, so many times. At this point, this becomes a pullback over here. So now we're starting to clear this area at this point now. So this is not a very significant area, so I want to take this area out at this point. So I'm looking to see if we can find another nice area, to be honest. This area, not a very significant area at this point now. So I'm not going to mark this area whatsoever. So obviously next area is this area up here that we are approaching, which is our area at this point now. So let's see what happens. But I think we can see a really nice drop today because we have been consolidating as well for so long, and this is a Friday, right? It's formed up new highs at this point as well. Let's quickly just see the weekly candle. Have we made new highs? Oh, we're very close to making new highs. Very, very close. So potentially could push up to all the way up here, to be honest. So I think we can push up a bit more. So I'm not going to have any sort of impulsive entries today. I want to see those, you know, clear confirmations. Even though, yeah, cool, because it is a volatile session, it might just start dumping, right? It might not give us our confirmation, because, but you gotta understand, right? On the weekly time frame, it needs to still form new higher highs and higher lows. So at this point now, I do want to see some sort of massive confirmation in order for me to take the price down. But as soon as we start to break this, we're kind of like breaking the highs of the previous weekly candle. At that point, we are technically forming new highs, right? So let's see. I think when we do break this, that's again more orders being executed. From there, we can get explosive move to the top side, right? And then after that, we can look to see. This could be the next one, potentially 1808. How far is that? I definitely can see that happening if we start clearing this. Let's see what happens. Look on the daily as well. Yeah, potentially this area could be it. Pretty much from like 1804 to 1808. Okay, let's go back to the structure, the 1 minute structure. There we go, our session has started at this point now. Let's look at the 30 minutes candle quickly. How is it looking? So we do not have a bottom wick at the moment. It's just pushing straight back up. On FXCM, there is no bottom wick. Let's look at the 30 minutes here. Let me just take this out. Yeah, there is still no bottom wick on Wanda as well. So we do not have a bottom wick at the moment. So let's see what happens at this point. Go back to our 1 minute time frame. And yeah, very explosive push to the top side. Very explosive push to the top side. Bro, you use white then red line, hard to see. Bro, can you use white then red line? Hard to see. You want me to use white line or red line? I don't understand. What did he say? Let me check again. Bro, can you use white line then red line? Hard to see. So you want me to use a white line rather than a red line over here? Okay. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Hopefully you can see it now. Okay, cool. At this point, what's happening is this area over here is becoming some sort of area, right? Starting to, we had one rejection from here, second rejection, third rejection, and then at this point now, let's see what happens. See, okay. At this point, we understand that 30 minutes need to form a bottom wick as well. So this is, we're getting some sort of rejections from this area at this point, which is lovely. Potentially. And now where did we start to form a leg down to? So the leg down is all the way there. This is kind of where we have that leg down, right? So right now, let's look at the 30 minutes again quickly. Okay, we're starting to form the bottom wick at this point now. So honestly, look at this point now. If we start breaking this structure to the downside, at that point you can take it down, right? You can have that confidence in taking it down. If you start breaking the structure at this point, we're starting to form a new low. You guys gonna understand that as well. Until then, this can just be a pullback to kind of like push all the way back up. So let's see what happens. But another thing though, I would not be interested in selling as soon as we break this. I would like a nice break, pullback. At that point, I want to see a nice confirmation candle again, suggesting for the second time the momentum is to the downside. At that point, I'll look to take it down. Until then, we're just chilling. That's what we are doing. Patience pays in this game, guys. You're gonna see us show you what patience do. One trade a day, but highest probability setup. At this point, we understand that this is a volatile session, right? So yeah, look. This was a leg down, another leg down at this point now. This one broke below this, and this one's kind of like retesting. So at this point, even a nice position, it could be a nice position here, but it becomes a bit tricky, right? Because the lows are actually down there. So that's the thing. But if we wait for these lows to get violated, at that point, it becomes, the confirmations are much more of, like, the confirmations have more probability on our side, if that makes sense. They are high probability confirmations. Right now, yeah, this is some sort of confirmation as well. You're starting to violate the structure, but again, you gotta understand it needs to create that bottom wick on the 30 minutes time frame. So yeah. Okay, nice massive bearish candle at this point now. Next one, attempt to break down after breaking the lows, but guess what? The next candle has engulfed it all the way back to the top side, right? All the way back to the top side. Another thing though, guys, if we do start clearing 1800, at that point we do have a nice range to the top side as well. But again, want to wait for those nice confirmations and see how it plays out. But until then, look, sells are the ones, and price action is king. Okay, at this point now, this kind of becomes a retest of these highs over here, right? Look, from here, we did get a rejection as well. Very nice rejection previously. And that's when we formed a new low. So you understand this is the area where we did form a new low from. So at this point now, look, very nice bearish drop. At this point, this becomes your retest candle. So this candle needs to kind of like engulf everything at this point now, kind of like breaking out of this range with some sort of explosive move to the downside. At that point, you're waiting for another candle to come up. Otherwise, you want this to come up a little bit more, kind of like form a double top up here, right? This is our first rejection. So now this becomes our question, right? Can we kind of like break this area over here, kind of like retest the key area? So some sort of explosive move to the key area. After that, start creating those new lower lows and lower highs. Another retest of this area, and then at that point drop. So you have to just see, you have to wait and see. At the moment, we're forming higher highs and higher lows. This is where we got the explosive move from. So until we actually break this, we don't know if sellers are in control or buyers are in control. So you want to see this area here break. So this is where buyers took control from. So at this point now, potentially, in order for sellers to take control, this is our first area of interest. This is our second area of interest. This is our third area of interest. And this is our final area of interest. Numerous areas where sellers can take control from, right? Just have to wait and see. Just have to wait and see what happens. Got one rejection around here. Look at this. Look how many rejections we got. Price actually kind of like pushed all the way to the top side, right? At this point now, one rejection here. From here, we kind of like dropped. And this was your first main rejection from this area. At that point, you dropped. Next rejection was very, very massive, actually very explosive as well. This rejection was very explosive. So let's say if price does approach this area again and we see another nice rejection to the downside, kind of like engulfing everything to the left, at that point, you can obviously put your trust in the double top being formed and kind of like take it down, right? Because we do have a confluence on the daily time frame as well. At that point, your daily time frames are aligning with your lower time frames. But again, you want to see some sort of formation being formed here, and very, very explosive moves to the downside. So a lot of momentum to the downside kicks in. Otherwise, if you just see like a small bearish candle printing out, at that point you got room to the top side as well. You got to keep that in your mind, guys. Always keep that in your mind. Because look, at this point now, the 30 minutes have everything, right? It's got the upper wick as well as the bottom wick. So either way the momentum is, that's where probably price will go, right? You gotta understand, look, it's got the bottom wick and it's also got the upper wick at this point now. So if it starts breaking the upper wick and starts forming new higher highs, at that point we're pushing up. But now it has no business breaking these lows as well, right? You gotta understand that as well. So that's another confirmation now if you start to break these lows after it has formed a new bottom wick, right? So this is your bottom wick on the 30 minutes at this point now. So now let's say if we form a double top up here, you have a bottom wick. At that point you have one confirmation there. Second confirmation is your daily candle, no bottom wick on the daily candle. Third confirmation is that we're tapping into this key area over here. And then fourth confirmation is that we're starting to violate the lower structure that we have formed, right? So there are so many confirmations to the downside. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But for buyers, it becomes very tricky. Even though the confirmations are there for buyers, we're obviously creating higher highs and higher lows. We're starting to approach this area, so I want to be super careful. At this point, it doesn't make sense for me to take up buy. This is high of the... That's the thing about me, right? I don't care. Even if there was like 200 pips to the top side, I don't want to buy the top side of the range. If for me to actually execute on a buy setup, I want to see those pullbacks, at least like 50%. Of the daily candle, right? So 50% of the range. So it will have to pull back all the way to 1790 for me to actually execute on a buy position. Other than that, I'm willing to mess out because I'm not comfortable with buys because I don't see them working out for me, right? But whereas for sells, I really do like them. There are a lot of confluences. But I can very much see it push up a little bit more though. That's definitely possible. So we'll just have to sit on our hands and see whatever shows up. And then at that point, we can execute. It's a Friday. Keep that in your mind. It's a freaky Friday. Freaky Friday. Friday usually likes to do some freaky stuff, so we're going to be super careful. There we go. Starting to approach this area again for the second time at this point now. Let's see. Are we going to break out of this range, or can we see a lot of selling momentum kick in at this point now? Another thing we do understand that usually, obviously, if it does close above the resistance, it will give you a couple like bearish candles, right? But again, you'll see one massive bullish candle. At that point, it will start to break out of the range. So you are going to look out for that. There you go. This is the explosive move. A lot of buy orders have been executed here. At that point, you're kind of like, from here, I think we can push up really nicely to the top side. This is your buy orders being executed at this point now. And also the weekly candle has been violated. The weekly highs have been violated. So now at this point, guys, from this point on, I'm looking for sales anytime now. This is your buy orders being executed here, which we did say earlier, right? As soon as we break that weekly high, let me show you guys. You're going to see a very explosive move to the top side. And at that point, you're creating those new highs. So we're looking for this area now. This is the next area of interest at this point now, 1809. From there, let's see what happens. But man, the sales are looking really nice. Really nice. At this point now, we formed a new high as well. So there's another confirmation now for sales that you have a new high at this point now. So our weekly analysis that we did last week, we expected this, right? This was our weekly analysis. So if you was like some sort of like swing trader and you took a position all the way to the downside, because that's where we were, all the way to the downside, your TPs would have been here right now if you held this for the whole week. So this is our analysis working out to the T once again. That's amazing. So again, now we need to see, so this area again becomes irrelevant because we broke out of it. So I'm going to take this area out once again. It didn't hold as a double top. Just became some sort of pullback area, right? So one thing we can understand that obviously once we did break out of this, we got the explosive move, right? You guys saw as soon as we broke these highs, that's when you got the explosive move. So it is some sort of significant area this over here because it's right next to our key area, right? So keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind. So there we go, starting to tap into our next zone at this point now. This is our next range at this point now, literally like 16 pips. Gold might be on steroids today. This is a Freaky Friday. Oh gosh, I can imagine FOMO kicking in right now. But no FOMO for us, guys. We're looking for sells, and that's about it. I don't care. It can push up to 300 pips. I really don't care. I'm executing on one trade. I want it to be the highest probability setup. At this point now, anywhere around here, let's see if we can start forming any sort of structure within our range. So let's see what happens at this point now. The question that we gotta ask again, just gotta ask those questions. First rejection. This is our first rejection within our zone, within our key area. This is our first rejection. Keep that in your mind, within our key area, right? So at this point now, this is going to be our second retest at this point. Let's see what happens when we retest this. Are we gonna clear this to the top side, come all the way to the top side of the range, or are we gonna still respect this? Let's see what happens. Seems like we're rejecting again. Are we gonna start seeing a lot of bearish momentum over here? This was your second retest at this point now. And so yeah, this is another candle kind of like retesting, right? So you would want to see some sort of explosive move to the downside, kind of like clearing this whole range. At that point, some sort of pullback, and then you can take it back down. Until then, you want to relax. Really do want to relax. You just want to keep on asking these questions, right? Because that's all we can do. We can't predict the price, we can't predict the markets, we can only react to them. So this is what I'm doing right here. I'm just reacting to the price, to the markets. That's it. And whenever I like the reaction, I'll execute on it. It's as simple as that, guys. That's what trading is about. Wait for the reactions that you like, and as soon as you see those reactions, just execute. This is also your new 15-minute open as well. You gotta understand, very volatile candle this will be. Let's look at the 15 minutes quickly. It has the bottom wick at this point now, so as soon as it starts clearing those highs, it can start pushing up to the top side. And this is you forming new highs for the daily candle as well at this point now. Another rejection over here, guys. Look, another rejection with the new 15-minute open. This is a very volatile candle, and this is within our range as well. Just keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind. Very nice rejection, this one, honestly. Let's look at the 15 minutes again quickly. Yeah, it's got a bottom wick at this point now. It has a bottom wick at this point now. Even we can cash in on that bottom wick. It'll be very nice explosive move down. That's the thing. Gold is on steroids today, man. Gold is on steroids. You gotta understand, it has to create the upper wick, right? Because the whole week has been so choppy, man. And it's broken up the consolidation. It needs to push up. It needs to create those new highs. So at this point now, all we can do is just kind of like mark our highs and just see which area becomes that reaction area. Until then, we just got to let gold do its thing. It's gonna push up. It's gonna create those new highs. Next area of interest is all the way up here. Look. This is the upper wick, which is a little bit up here, right? 1808, that's your upper wick at this point now. 1808, this wick over here, this is where we got a rejection from previously. So let's see what happens around 1808. This is one of our key areas, 1808. What's happened here? From look 1808, we did a retest and a massive rejection from 1808. Let's go back to our lower time frames again. But before we do that, let's also mark 1808. So might get a very nice push up to 1808 at this point now. Hold on a second, let me kind of like take this out at the moment. And let's just keep this as zone, yeah, right there. Swing high, where we create that swing high, where we got the rejection from, yeah. 1808 should be the next zone we should look out for, because that's the wick. So either wicks become rejection or they become the destinations. So we have to see if this becomes the destination, we start breaking this, then we go understand what the next destination is, right? It's as simple as that. But if it becomes a rejection, at that point it will be a very nice rejection as well. It'll be lovely. Okay, this area did not hold. Let's remove this area. At this point, let's see if we start faking everything out, start closing back into this area. At that point, we can start seeing this as an area of relevance. At the moment, just got to clear this, keep the charts clean, keep the charts clean right now. Simple questions we need to ask right now. It's very simple price action right now, quite bullish all the way to the top side of the range. At that point, 1808, which we did expect to get hit, can be that next area, right? But let's just see. Wherever the sellers take control, from there we'll look to start taking it downtown. Because it's very high at this point now, so I can expect rejections from any sort of area. I would not mind rejections from anywhere, honestly. At this point now, look, we formed a low right here. So if you start breaking this low right here, at that point see a nice pullback and another bearish candle, I'll be interested in taking it down. This is where you're biased to control from, right? This is the last most relevant area that we have. This is where biased to control from. So let's see. Let's see if we can start to violate this structure at this point now. Nice break, pullback, another nice candle to the downside. We can take it down. Until then, we just have to wait. So at this point now, we need to start forming another range. Does this become our range? We need to understand, is this our range at this point now? Let's ask that question as well. So we're seeing some rejection, just one rejection at the moment, not massive rejection either, just a pullback candle. At this point, if this engulfs the previous candle, at that point you're breaking out, and this is not a range. But over here, you can see 1, 2, 3 touches, so it is some sort of area around here, right? So at this point, let's just see. But if this becomes the top side of the range, you want to see the bottom side of the range gets broken, kind of like if in order for you to get another sniper entry, you kind of want to see a nice pullback, at least to this area. From there, maybe reject and come back up here again, right? Kind of like turn this into an area. Let's see. Asking the same question here, which we asked before. As soon as our question is answered, we're going to execute. Until then, all we can do is just ask these questions. And soon enough, price will answer. Let's see. So anything below this, I'm interested in taking those sells, anything below this area, because this is where, this is the last area of relevance that we have, right? So this is where bias to control from. So if we start breaking this area, at this point, we have a clear confirmation. Okay, now sellers are in control, but we want to see a nice close pullback at that point, execute. Okay, very nice bearish candle at this point now, kind of like engulfing everything to the left. This one started to break the lows, but now if this becomes a bullish candle, kind of like breaking this area again, this will become irrelevant. But at this point now, you'd want to see it go down, kind of like create another leg back up, kind of like start to consolidate within this area, turn this area within, like turn this area into a range, kind of like consolidate within this area. So like come down, tap the downside of the range, pull all the way back up, kind of like start forming double top here. At that point, we can potentially take it down with more confidence, right? But in order for us to execute on something like this, we need to see these low get broken as well. Again, at that point, we got way more confirmation, right? Way more confidence in this trade. So let's see what happens. I'm just Okay, is this gonna break out or is it gonna fake out now? Start going bearish again for the second time and kind of like form that double top here. Let's see. If the next candle kind of like breaks those lows, at that point we're starting to form some sort of double top over here, right? Let's see. This is your second retest of this area now. Kind of failed to break to the top side. This was the first retest right here. And now this is your second retest of this area. This is the second retest at this point now. And now if this kind of engulfs everything to the left at that point, this is a failed to break to the top side. This becomes a failed to break to the top side. So we have failed to break the structure at the moment. But again, usually price creates new highs and then you have a pullback candle and then one massive engulfing candle. So yeah, let's see what happens. Very nice bearish candle at this point, honestly. Okay, let's see if we can start clearing this range at this point. I really do like this though. Selling momentum's kicking in as well, guys. Really do like this at this point now. Really do like this. Second retest, selling momentum's kicking in. Let's see if we get more bearish momentum at this point now. Two things can happen at this point. One massive engulfing candle, kind of like clearing this whole range, or otherwise you're going to start seeing this area hold, kind of like consolidate around this area, another push up, another rejection, or otherwise kind of like clear these lows over here. At that point, wait for the pullback to take it down. Let's see. It seems like, look, we're starting to consolidate within this area at this point now. It's becoming a nice area. Nice rejections over here as well. So let's see what happens. This candle engulfed everything to the left. So at this point now, if this candle starts engulfing everything to the left again, this just becomes a pullback candle, right? But now let's say if this starts breaking the lows again, the next candle starts breaking the lows again, at that point we can come down to the downside of the range. So let's see what happens. If this candle can start breaking these lows. Otherwise we're pushing all the way to the top side again. So you would want this candle to start breaking these lows at this point now and come all the way to the downside of the range. I might be interested in taking a position here if we see a lot of momentum kick into the downside and start violating all these lows at this point now. Kind of like retest this again and a massive rejection to the downside. At that point, we're getting a lot of rejections and this area is holding. And look at this candle, like the momentum was to the downside, this becomes your pullback, right? If now this candle can engulf everything to the left. And then over here, you can kind of like look to make your risk free. But as soon as we start clearing this area to the downside, you understand you're going to see a very explosive move to the downside as well. So let's see what happens. The moment you don't have the confirmations that you're looking for, you can still push up very easily. So you want to wait for it. Yep, starting to break this at this point now. Are we going to reject? Are we going to start clearing it? Let's see. At that point, this becomes the area of a leg down, right? If we form a new high at this point. Or this can become a fake high at this point now. Massive bearish candle, kind of like closing back into the range. Still haven't closed above this, guys. Look at this rejection. Wow. Look at this rejection. Just wow. Look at this rejection, man. Man, this rejection is so nice at this point now. But you would want to see the lows get broken though first. You got a nice rejection. Another confirmation now. This area is still holding at this point now. But you would want to see these lows get broken though. At that point, you're starting to violate this, right? Because this is where you formed a new high from. So if you violate this at this point now, one nice massive bearish candle, at that point, if you can get pulled back to the top side, so this will become the top side, right? 1804, and then another massive bearish candle, kind of like breaking out of this, I'll be looking to execute at that point. Really do like this. Now you want to see everything to the left gets engulfed. So you want to see one nice bearish candle. Massive nice engulfing bearish candle at this point now. This becomes your rejection candle, but again there was some sort of buying momentum here, so this can kind of just be a pullback because it did form a new high, right? You gotta understand that it is also a new high. But now let's see what happens. Right now the structure shows us that price is still forming new highs, but again it's failing to break out of this area, right? So that's our confirmation for sales, that is failing to break out of this area. But again, the buying momentum seems to be to the top side right now. It might just be exhausted for a little bit to kind of like go back up to create another leg up. So you just have to wait and see. Wait and see. At this point, if we break these lows over here, because we did form a new high from this area, we can have that confirmation to our side. Okay, selling momentum is starting to kick in. This area is an area of interest at this point now. This is the downside of this, becomes the downside of the range at this point. But you would not want to sell the downside. Either a nice entry will be to the top side for me, up here somewhere, a nice entry, kind of like being a cowboy, kind of like taking the sniper entry, or otherwise a nice break and retest, and then I'll take it down. So these two entries I'm interested in. Either entry up here, if I see a nice engulfing candle at this point now, or otherwise the entry will be kind of like have to wait for this to break and then at that point come back. Because if I do get a nice entry up here, right, the downside is all the way down there, right? You understand, and the 1-to-1s can get hit. If it does want to come back, I would be in profits, right? So I'll make it risk free or whatever. So I want to see how I want to manage my positions as well. But right now, just have to wait. Look, this is another rejection at this point now. It's failed to break at this point now. Let's see. Does this become a pullback at this point? This area here. Does it become your pullback at this point now to kind of like push all the way back down? Let's see. This is first rejection run. Here we have this is where you got a massive engulfing candle from, massive bullish momentum kicked in from this area over here. Got to keep that in your mind as well. So if you see another rejection here, it's kind of like engulfing everything to the left. A nice close over here. Why not? Let's see. Can this be the second area of? Okay, this looks really, really good at this point now. Really, really good. Looks really, really good. If it starts breaking these lows, guys, I think it looks really good. But I want to see, is it going to reject or is it going to close nicely? You want to see a nice bearish close at the moment. No rejections. No rejections whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to execute on a sell position here. Kind of like aiming for the 1-to-1, but I'm looking for that rejection to the downside now. Come on, let's push down at this point. If we start clearing these lows at this point, I'm in. Let's start clearing these lows with some sort of momentum. Okay, let's clear these. Come on. Let's go. Clear these. Come on, Goldie. Let's clear these lows. At this point now, it needs to start clearing these lows with momentum. Let's go. I want to take another position as well, but first... Okay, I'm going to take one position here, but for the second position, I'm waiting. Because this can very easily reverse, right? But it's a nice sniper entry. I like it. The confirmations are there and gold needs to drop. So at this point now, if it starts pushing up, it's way too late into the session. Look, our session literally just closes over here. So at this point now, I'm happy with this position. Our session literally closes right here. So this is where our session closes. So now at this point now, I don't want to see this turn into like a pullback candle, right? Because we understand it will break out of the structure. You'll see one nice bearish candle. And then if the next one engulfs everything, at that point, this becomes a pullback candle. So now if this starts staying within this range and then you see more momentum to the downside, kind of like tapping the top side of the range, engulfing everything to the downside, it will be good. So I want to be super, super careful here. I'm going to look to manage risk if it pushes all the way back up and kind of like call it a day. Honestly, guys. Because at that point, it's going to push all the way to the top side. But it should be good over here. But you want it to kind of like respect all the highs over here. Start to reject from here. So I have a tiny position over here. Otherwise, if this kind of like... Because I'm sticking to 1 to 2 trades a day. I don't want to take many trades. So this is a good confirmation trade at this point now. If it starts breaking these highs, at that point, gold is just flying, man. It's a freaky Friday. Kind of going to just sit on my hands after this trade. But you're seeing very nice confirmations at this point now. Tapped into a key area as well. It looks good. It looks good. It should start holding. This area should start holding at this point now. And you should see a massive bearish candle at this point now. This one closed back into the range, kind of like breaking all the lows at this point now. So this becomes your retest. This should become your retest and kind of start pushing down. At this point now, this candle should start engulfing everything to the left. But if it starts pushing up, at that point you have so much range to the top side. And I'm just going to take out this sell position, because this is more like a sniper entry. I'm not holding it all the way to the top. Very, very close. So if I start seeing momentum to the top side, I'm taking this position now. I'm not holding this to the top side. That's for sure. Because very much bullish momentum at the moment. Very bullish at the moment. So I'm not going to fight against the markets. But this is the area where we should start seeing a reversal from. We have a lot of confirmations. So let's see. It's a high probability setup in my opinion, but you have to just wait now. I can add some more risk to this trade, but I want to see more confirmations now. Kind of like start to violate this. At that point, this trade will be risk-free as well. And then I can add up into the entry here, and then we have such a nice range to the downside. But at this point now, you want to just let this play out first. Even if I see a nice bearish candle right now, I would not be looking to add any more risk right now. No more risk at the moment. We're starting to hold again. This area is holding very nicely at the moment. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But if we do start breaking these highs, I'm going to take out this position, guys. I'm not interested in holding. I'm not interested in a bigger stop loss, because I'm looking to take a sniper entry here. Tiny stop loss, tiny TP, right? At that point, I can make it risk-free very easily, because we haven't violated these lows over here. So I'm looking to take a nice sniper entry, but that's about it. So if we break these highs up there, I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to take this trade out. It's as simple as that. Like literally, I want to make it even more tighter at this point now. All right, I made my trade very tight at this point now. So this candle doesn't become a fake out candle. If it pushes up more, I'm taking this out. I made it very tight at this point now. All right, guys, I'm taking out this position right now. I am not holding this. I'm not going to wait for this candle to close or stay open, honestly. I'm going to take this out, because I don't know. You might want to push up anymore. I'm not interested. Really not interested. At that point, I'm just sitting on my hands right now. I'll give this trade another go, but not right now. You need to just let it fly right now, because it's just very bullish at the moment. This was, you saw a lot of confirmations here. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of rejections at this point, right? So if the sales don't play out now, our session closes literally right there. And we understand that NYSE is the next momentum session. After that, we're not going to see any more momentum. At that point, gold is just going to fly, fly, fly. And I'm not interested in any sort of bias today. I'm just looking for those sales. But again, as I said, my requirement for this entry was it needs to be a sniper entry, right? So I don't want to hold any big stop losses, tight stop losses. That's why I executed on. I'm not interested in holding any sort of tight, massive stop losses over here. Usually, if this was like a normal setup, I would put my stop loss obviously above the structure, right? Because you're respecting this structure to be respected. But it doesn't make sense right now. It doesn't make sense right now. I'll give this another go. Add some more risk back on, but not right now. I want to see massive, massive confirmations now, because this will be my last trade, right? 1 to 2 trades a day. That's about it. So one of my trades have been taken out. As I said, I'll take it out if it breaks these highs. I don't care. I'm not holding this, because the whole point of this trade was to have a sniper entry, right? So if I have a sniper entry, I need to have a tight stop loss as well. Otherwise, it does not become a sniper entry, does it? If my stop loss is very massive, because I can have a better entry at that point. So look, at this point now, this is becoming some next sort of area that you have. Now you do want to see all these lows get broken at this point now. So until I actually see all of these lows get broken, I'm not interested in anything whatsoever. Just gotta stay on our hands now, honestly. We can really see that reversal from here, right? Like the trade I took was very good, but I feel like maybe gold just wanted to create that last leg up to kind of like push down. So the trade I took was very, very good. Could have waited for a little bit more confirmation, but again, it was a sniper entry. That was the whole point of it, right? One percent. Honestly, when we get the drop is going to be very explosive. And it will be probably from this point on. And the drop will be very, very explosive. At this point, look, we formed a new swing high. It's still forming higher highs and higher lows. Got to keep that in our mind at this point now. Where did we create a swing high from, right? Create that from here. So this is your swing low and this is your swing high at the moment. So let's see at this point now. Very nice engulfing candles, kind of like breaking out of the range. Let's see if you can start breaking the swing lows over here, kind of like clear this range. But I feel like when we do catch those sells, it's going to be a very nice sell. Minimum 100 pips to the downside. And what we can do is I can even hold that for 1 to 2 risk to reward, because the probability of it playing out will be very nice. So look, even now, sells are starting to play out really nicely. Look, we're starting to turn that top side of the resistance again into some sort of like, you know, area of interest. And now at this point, if it starts engulfing everything and we start clearing this area, we should be good. As I said, the trade I took was very good. But the only reason I didn't keep my stop loss above this, because the whole point of the trade was it was a sniper entry, right? It didn't make sense for me to put a stop loss above this. At that point, it doesn't become a sniper entry. The sniper entry would have been all the way up here, right? So let's see now. If we can kind of like tap this area at this point now, and then from there pull all the way back up. And then from there, if we can kind of like break this and then pull all the way back up, one massive bearish candle, at that point I'm interested in taking it down. Very interested actually. But right now, got a sale on our hands. Got a sale on our hands. Okay, this is becoming those retest areas. This is starting to engulf everything to the left, becoming very, very nice. Let's see if we can start breaking these lows at this point now. This was the last area where we saw a lot of momentum kick in from. So let's see now at this point now, we're starting to clear this area, right? Look, this was the area where we kind of like create that leg up from. So let's see, is this going to become the rejection area, or are we going to close below this? If we do close below this, I'm waiting for those pullbacks. One massive bearish candle, I'm taking it all the way down at that point. All the way down. Let's see how this area holds though. You definitely don't want to sell the lows. You want to wait for the pullbacks and then sell them. This can be the selling area, kind of like keeping the stop loss above this structure. Let's see what happens now. Okay, this is becoming your retest, kind of breaking the lows, but I still don't want to sell just yet. It's too early, way too early. I want to wait for a nice pullback candle and then kind of like another bearish engulfing candle to take it all the way down. At this point, it looks really good, guys. We're starting to tap the downside of the range. It looks really, really good at this point now. Really, really good. But again, this is my second trade. I'm giving this a second go, so I want to wait for the extra bit of a confirmation, and I would like a pullback. So let's see if we can start to violate this structure as well. This will be the last area of interest that we have, right? So if we can start breaking this now, kind of like have a pullback bullish candle, at that point, one massive bearish candle, we can use this, something like this. Very interesting, very, very interesting. But you want to see another massive bearish candle print out, some sort of bullish candle at this point now, kind of like pullback, and then a nice bearish candle. Because another thing can happen, you can create a double bottom here as well to kind of like take price back up. So that's why I want to see this area gets cleared first. And yeah, let's see what happens. At this point, this candle had some sort of rejection from the downside right now. So let's see. Look at that retest of the top side of the range, one nice engulfing bearish candle, kind of like clearing everything, right? So now at this point now, we violated the structure over here. You'd want to see some sort of a pullback candle, right? Some sort of bullish candle. At that point, if you see a nice bearish candle, I'll use this as a stop loss, the top side of that bullish candle as a stop loss. And yeah, let it ride all the way to the downside, and round here, make it risk free. And then after that, just let it do its thing. And this will also give me 1 to 2 risk to reward. So yeah, it will recover the loss I've taken as well and put me in profits if it works out. This is that bullish candle now. You want to see a massive rejection, and then the next candle start to break all these lows here at this point now. This becomes your pullback candle, and then the next bearish candle should start engulfing everything to the left. That's what I'm looking for. That is what I'm looking for. Now this candle, you want to see this candle kind of like engulf everything to the left, right? At that point, you know the selling momentum is there. This should be your leg back up, should be 1 or 2 bullish candles. And now you want to see massive drop to the downside. Massive drop to the downside. Let's see what happens. I'll definitely look to execute on these sells now if I see momentum to the downside. But you want to see like everything gets cleared, like it just slices through everything, right? So if you see like a nice bearish candle at this point now, I'll even put my stop losses above this. But you want to see nice bearish candle kind of like slicing through everything at this point now. That's what you're looking for. Engulfing bearish candle. Engulfing bearish candle. Safer stop loss will be obviously above this, but again, aiming for that sniper entry whenever I see that bearish candle. We do understand that this area is some sort of area where we do have problems every time approaching this area. So yeah, let's see now if we can start clearing the lows. Okay, there we go. Attempting to clear the lows at this point now. Can we get a nice close to the downside? At this point, turning this into your pullback and this into an engulfing bearish candle, kind of like clearing out the range. At that point, this is the only area of this is the only issue area that we have left. And at this point now, you're kind of like aligning your analysis, top-down analysis, and just trusting this and taking it, executing it. Because over here, then you'll expect another pullback, and then if we start to violate these lows, it might be explosive push to the downside. So price is giving us a nice entry here, but we want to see that nice confirmation candle, right? And then at that point, you can use the top side of the range as a stop loss. That's the thing. Again, I haven't seen the candle that I'm looking for, but this one seems like it might be the one. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Still waiting, guys. I don't like this candle here. I want to see a nice engulfing bearish candle first. Now at this point, if you start tapping the downside of the range, I'm not going to look to scale in just yet. I'll wait for a break pullback. Because from here, you can see a lot of momentum kick into the top side. Because you can form a double bottom here. Keep that in your mind. This is where usually sellers take control from, so you want to be super careful. Again, just seeing rejections right now. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Again, see, my entry was really good up here, but because it was a sniper entry, that's the only reason I got wicked out. So the trade was actually not I mean, yeah, technically it was a losing trade because I got wicked out, but the idea was that obviously this area should hold and we should start dropping to the downside of the range, right? And at that point, I'm going to make a risk free. So it would have worked out, but the only issue was, rather than keeping my stop loss here, I could have given it a little bit more room to breathe, right? Because I do understand that gold is a very volatile beast. But again, it was a sniper entry, so that was the whole point. Not giving it any room to breathe. At this point now, we got one rejection from the downside here. So buyers did attempt to take the price up. So now if you see momentum to the downside at that point, look, this is the next area that you have, right? But look, at this point now, this was the attempt, the first attempt. Buyers attempted to take the price back up, right? So now let's see who's going to win. Are the sellers going to win or are the buyers going to win? Let's see. We shall find out in a little bit. But if the sellers take control over here, I'll be a happy man. This is a volatile session. Got NYSE approaching as well. I would like a nice entry over here. This was the first attempt at this point now. So now if we can engulf this, oh, I think we can have a really nice entry over here. Second trade of the day. Okay, let's see what happens over here now. I want to see a nice close below this. Oh, this is looking nice, guys. This is looking oh my gosh, it did not exit. I wanted to take a dynamic risk entry here. Kind of like, because, oh gosh, goldy. Why is it that when you literally take one trade and then after that it just doesn't want to work? It's not even a high risk trade that I took, this first one. Next loss. 20. Oh man, that would have been such a beautiful entry as well. Magic keys. You know how many trades I've missed out because of magic keys now? It's actually like really annoying. Like really annoying, honestly. At this point, I'm not looking to execute. I want to see a pullback. Another nice bearish candle. At that point, I look to take it. But the amount of, man, the entry would have been all the way up there as well. Honestly, the amount of entries that I missed out on at this point now, it just sucks. It really sucks. Because of this. So this is the last area where we understand that we can start forming a double top at, double bottom at. But if we start clearing this and this does not become a fake out area, this area starts holding. At that point, again, you want to see one nice bearish candle kind of like breaking these lows is a nice entry in my opinion, and I'll take it. Something like this. At this point, it would have been a risk-free as well, risk-free trade. It's going to catch it all the way from up there. But right now, this is why I did not want to sell all the way down here. I was looking to catch it from up here, right? Something like this was going to happen, and because your stop loss was going to be so tight, your 1-to-1 would have been hit basically, and it would have been a risk-free trade. But at this point, you don't want to take it. You want to let it go. You want to see another nice bearish candle. At that point, I'll execute. Until then, I'm just sitting on my hands because I know that a lot of buying momentum kicks in around here. A lot of it kicks in, actually, a lot of it. So you want to see one nice bearish candle at this point, kind of like clearing out of this range, then you can take it down. Until then, we just have to sit on our hands now. Because we missed our entry again due to magic keys. Thank you, magic keys. At this point, we've broken the structure, but this kind of becomes a fake out candle, right? So that's the question we're asking. Is this a fake out? Or is this a pullback? Are we going to start forming a double top sort of structure here at this point now? Does this become a retest? Are we going to see one nice bearish candle over here? Are we going to start clearing this? At that point, this becomes a fake out. And now that's why I didn't want to sell the lows over here. I wanted to take a position up here, which I couldn't take, unfortunately. At this point, 1-to-1s would have gotten hit because I knew it was going to be explosive move to the downside. But that's why I didn't want to sell down here, because I knew something like this can happen, right? Because a lot of buying momentum kicked in from here. That's the thing, guys. A lot of buying momentum kicked in. So at this point now, you just want to wait for it to start to exhaust again. It's testing the top side of the range. But again, in order for me to execute, I would want to see one nice bearish candle at this point now, kind of like keeping stops above this, if we can start respecting this area over here. Until then, just gotta let it go. This is also the area where we did get a massive bullish kick from. Look at that. So from here, if you see a massive bullish candle, at that point you can start pushing all the way to the top side of the range. Most probably we can start hitting this side over here, 1807, and start playing within this range. Another 8 minutes, you're starting to see NYSE approach. Kilo price. There we go. How many pips are you aiming for today? 100. That's why I'm not taking any buys. Because I want to aim for 100 pips today. That's why I'm not taking any buys. Because buyers, I don't see me catching 100 pips today on a buy position. When did our session start? Kind of like started here. How much has it pushed up since our session started? Yeah, about 80 pips. So even if it did capitalize on this, would not have been a 100 pip move to the top side. At this point now, I want to see this start turn into an engulfing candle. Start to engulf everything at this point now. Turn this into a double top, massive engulfing candle at this point now. This becomes your pullback. This becomes your leg down. That's what I'm looking to execute on, and this will be my last trade. If we can see a nice bearish candle here, I'll take one position here, another position below that. So I'll go in with dynamic risk at this point. Let's see if it works though. Right now, no confirmations, guys. Still no confirmations at the moment to the downside. The only entry was up here. Your 1-to-1s would have gotten hit. Risk-free trade, but at this point now, no point. Need to wait. Need to have patience. So just let it go. You got another 6 minutes left as well for the new NYSE Open. Let's see. There we go. You're starting to see some rejections over here, but I want to see a nice bearish candle at this point, kind of like engulfing everything to the left, right? Because look, this one kind of like tapped the top side of the range. This becomes your pullback candle, and at this point, if you see a nice engulfing candle, you're going back to the top side of the range. This becomes your leg down, and at this point, price wants to push up, and I'm not looking for no buys. I'm looking for sells. So let's see what happens. At this point now, if this can engulf everything to the downside and get a nice close, and then the next one can start breaking the lows, I'll take one position at that point. We have to wait for our confirmations, guys. Have to wait. And another 5 minutes, you're going to see more momentum kick in as well. At that point, with the next 5 minutes, you're expecting price to kind of like push all the way down. But I want to see something like this. Other than this, you need to again see where did you form the lows from? The lows actually started to being formed from here as well, so you can come to the top side of the range actually. So this can be another area we would like to see hold. Otherwise, you're coming all the way to the top side, right? So this can be another area that we can hold. Most definitely. Oh, this is nice now. This is nice now. This is nice now. Okay, I'm looking to execute on a position, guys. If we start pushing down here now. This is nice now, engulfing everything to the left, kind of like forming that double top over here as well. But I want to see you break these lows here, and then take a position there. Take one position here, take one position there, to the downside. Okay, I'm going to execute on one position here, guys. I'll look to see how it plays out first. It's a dynamic risk position. I'll look to add risk if we see more confirmations. At this point, I want to see this engulf everything to the downside, kind of like break this, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Right now, I'm sitting on my hands. Let's see if we can break these lows. So something like this now. Let me draw this for you guys. So nice bearish candle at this point now, kind of like breaking these lows. This becomes your double top. At that point, we can have a retest of this and another low gets broken. At that point, I'll add a position. But I'm going in with dynamic risk at this point though. Let's see what happens. NYSE is coming as well, guys. There we go. Nice. That's what we've been waiting for. Okay, at this point, I want to see a nice close below this and a pullback, and I'll add another entry. This is my first entry at the moment. And I'm going to hold this as well to the downside, right? So this is the area we want to see. Can the buyers take control over here or not? Let's see. Because right now, you want to see that pullback. You want to see first nice close over here. Because you understand that this is the area where buyers take control from. So you want to see a nice break of this area first, and then pull back, and then we can take it back down. So let's see if we can get that now. In NYSE is approaching as well at this point now. And honestly, this area should hold at this point now. It's a nice area. You should start clearing these lows at this point now. You don't want to see a massive bullish candle at this point. So I'm looking for something like this. Break these lows, nice close, pull back, add a position. Let's see if we can see that now. If it starts pushing up now after NYSE, we got another half an hour left, so we might not really see our setup coming up. Come on, Goldie. Give us our move now. So this was a break. This is a new swing low now at this point. Look at that. We've broken the lows at this point now. New swing low, even though we did not break the lows, we did kind of like break the structure. We broke the lows, but we didn't close below them. So at this point now, you want this candle to become that pullback candle, kind of like retest the highs, reject, and then the next one engulfs everything, breaks these lows again, and then at that point we can add that entry. Let's see if we can see that forming up at this point. But if it goes back all the way to the top side again, all the way up there, man. From there, we're going to have to catch it. Come on, Goldie. Give me this entry now. Okay, this is starting to look good at this point now. Broke the structure. Got a little bit of a rejection at this point now. This candle here is kind of like becoming your pullback candle, but you don't want it to start engulfing everything, right? At this point now, you don't want this to be an engulfing candle. This becomes your pullback candle at this point now. Start to break those lows again. But again, I want to see a nice bearish close first. I want to see a nice bearish close below this structure, pull back and then take it down. So this rejection over here, I don't like it, right? So I want to see a nice close below this structure. At that point, some sort of nice leg down, pull back, and then I'll add a position. Let's see if we can see that. Until then, sitting on my hands, sitting on my hands, sitting on my hands. Come on, Goldie. Let's get the nice push down now. Can we get that? Because we failed to break these lows at the moment. I want to see a nice close below this for the extra bit of confirmation. This is the downside of the range. Don't want to see these highs get broken at this point. NYSE is coming in another minute. So with the NYSE, if we break these highs at that point, we're coming all the way to the top side. Might just call it a day at that point. If we break these highs, I might just call it a day, honestly. Because I want to see the move play out now. I want to see the move kick in now, kind of like engulf everything to the downside. Otherwise, gold is quite bullish. We might just have to wait. And it's a Friday. I'm really not interested in waiting that much, honestly. Really not interested. Okay, let's see. Can we get a nice push to the downside? This is your NYSE open now. If you can get a nice push to the downside, kind of get a nice close below this. At that point, take it down. And I'm going to give this trade a second go as well at this point. Come on, Goldie. Can we get a nice push at this point? Or is it going to stop pushing up? Because we do understand this is where we create the leg up from, explosive push to the top side. So obviously from here, you're expecting those pullbacks, right? But now if you see a nice engulfing bearish candle, at that point, that's your confirmation. With the NYSE open, nice break, close below this. Second one, next candle comes up, retest, and then take it all the way to the downside. But can we see that happening though at this point? Because if it breaks these highs at this point with the NYSE open, then we're just going to go to the top side of the range. And I'm going to kind of like call it a day at that point. Because it's just going to start dragging on. Come on. Is it going to give us our entry or no? Yeah, honestly, if it breaks these highs, it's coming to the top side of the range, and then you'll have to wait for more confirmations. But yeah, guys, honestly, if it breaks these, like our session ends there, I'm not looking for any buys. At that point, I can see the buys working out, and I'm not interested in the buys. So at this point now, if you don't see a rejection here, this is your NYSE, you're going to see a nice push to the top side. I'm going to call it a day at this point. If we start breaking above this, get a nice close above this, and I don't see a rejection at this point, now I'm going to call it a day. Because it's going to come to the top side of the range after that. And our session is about to close in a little bit. So it's a Friday. I don't want to trade for that long. That's the thing. Let's see now. Can we see that rejection at this point, or is it going to keep on pushing up again? Because if we start clearing this area, we'll just come in all the way to the top side. Yeah. Because look, it's broken out of the area now. You might see one bearish candle. It's going to become a pullback candle, and then next one's going to engulf it again. And until we actually violate this, because we are starting to create new lower lows and lower highs at this point as well. So that's the thing, right? This was your first attempt. This is kind of like turning out to be a double bottom. This is a very strong formation. You understand that, right? This is your NYSE momentum kicking in. And so at this point now, this buy position would be really nice, right? If you get this pullback candle, next one engulfs it, very nice buy position. But as I said, I'm not looking for any buyers today. That's the thing. I'm sticking to the sells. So if they don't show up, I'm not interested. Simple as that. Because I don't see myself catching 100 pips to the top side, right? That's the thing. Really don't see that. See, this becomes a pullback candle. Next one starts breaking the highs, engulfs the previous candle. We're pushing all the way to the top side, even violating this structure here. And there is no bearish momentum at the moment in the markets either, guys, whatsoever. Yeah, this was a very nice buy setup here. See, broke above, next one pulled back, and then this one started to engulf everything. This is the buys I would usually execute on, but again, as I said, no bias today for me. It's a Friday. If this was a Monday, more 100% I would have executed in a buy position by now, but no way. not on a Friday, not interested. I'm looking for that big move because it will drop, right? When it wants to drop. But until then, not interested. But if we break these highs over here, I'm calling it a day, guys. At that point, I'm not waiting for this area to get tapped. I want to see this structure hold for the downside. Very nice double top can be created here. And I know you've been watching those double tops as well, right? If it gets formed here, that's it. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a day. If we break this structure, I'm going to call it a day, guys. Honestly. Because we're starting to break all structures, starting to form a double bottom over here, create those higher highs at this point now. So honestly, this will be the last area where it should hold. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a day. No, I'm not holding any trades right now. I'm not holding any trades right now, guys. Someone just said, guys, I'm not holding any trades right now. I'm not holding any trades. I am not holding any trades right now. Let me make that clear. I am not holding any trades right now. Why would you want to hold a trade here? Double bottom is being created. You're violating all the structure, forming higher highs, higher lows at the moment. I'm looking to take a position with a dynamic risk, but if we start breaking this, I'm not interested. I'll wait for Monday. It's a Friday. I don't want to take. I've taken a trade. I don't want to take more trades. Simple as that. I don't mind it being a losing day as long as I don't go over the 2% risk. I don't mind. As long as I can keep it under 2% risk per day, I know when the good days come, I can cash in with 2 to 3% risk per day easily. So that's the thing. So I never would go over 2% risk on a Friday. Never, ever, ever. Okay, you're seeing numerous rejections at this point now as well. But again, this area is still holding, guys. At this point, it becomes a bit tricky for you to capitalize on a sell position here. In order for you to really capitalize on a sell position, it has to be from up here. This becomes your mid-range at this point. You gave it a try here. It didn't work out at this point. This becomes a double bottom. It's a very strong area, this one. So, and you have the NYSE momentum at this point as well. And so this can be your leg back up at this point, but if you can form a double top over here, man, I'm going to take a position here and I'm going to hold it. I'm not going to secure anything. I'm going to hold it literally to at least 1800. It's going to be such a nice risk to reward. So if I can see something like that, I'll be interested, but I'm not looking to take any sells until we actually come to the top side. So something like this, some sort of nice confirmation, entry wherever, kind of like keeping your stops above the area. And then look at this risk to reward, like, it's amazing. Something like this I'm interested in. Until then, nah, not really, guys. Not looking to take any sells below this. Because look, at this point, you're starting to violate this structure as well. So you want to see, right? If you want to capitalize on a sell, where did you get that nice move down from? So this was the point where you got the nice leg down from, right? So if you start to violate this structure here, what's the next logical zone? Is all the way up here. Right now, have we broken this structure? No, we haven't. We're starting to obviously make some sort of rejections around this area, right? But again, you want to see a massive, massive rejection, not these tiny rejections. If you see a massive rejection, at that point, okay, cool. You can kind of look to take it down. If we start clearing this area, you get a nice close above this, you're waiting for a double top to be formed up here somewhere. That's what you're looking for, something like this. USD news in 10 minutes, moving up because of US news. Yeah, man, if the news is kicking in, we're going to see a massive dump, actually. Very massive dump. So yeah, as I said, if we get close above this, until it comes up to that level, no point of taking buys. Sells, my bad, no buys. Apologize. But would you really want to take a buy on a Friday? Kind of like, imagine, let's say this was your candle stop loss was 27 pips. Nah, it doesn't make sense. That's not even the top side of the range. I'd rather accept a loss than go against my bias, guys. Can't fight the markets, man. You can't fight the markets. Only nice entry was this one here, which my magic keys did not let me take. This could have been a winning trade right here. This was the only nice entry there was, which my magic keys did not let me take, as I mentioned earlier. So now look, this one closed out of the range, and then at this point, this becomes your pullback end, and the next one's going to engulf everything, right? From here, this should start faking everything out. If this can engulf everything at that point, it's not what's it called, your pullback candle, right? If it can engulf everything. So again, where did we get the massive push up from this wick over here? So if you can start breaking this wick at that point, look, you're engulfing this candle, right? And this might be the sales playing out at this point. Now guys, this might be it. There we go. We've broken the wick. Let's see how it closes, because this is where we got the rejection from. Can we get a nice close below this? At that point, we're going all the way downtown. Let's see. Right now, you want to wait. You want to wait for it to see how it closes. Because this kind of like faked out the whole move, right? Massive bearish momentum at this point. I might look to take an entry over here. But let's see how the next one opens. You need to see how the next candle opens, because there we go. Okay, guys, I'm looking to take an entry here, honestly. If this one starts breaking the lows, I'm looking to take an entry here. Magic keys is ready. I'm looking to take an entry here if we see the lows get broken at this point now. So now this candle should become an engulfing bullish candle. At that point, you're coming all the way to form that double top, right? But now if it starts breaking these lows over here, like let's say this candle gets a rejection from the top side, start breaking these lows, I'm taking an entry to the downside, putting stop loss above this. Because look, you want to know, is this a pullback candle? Or is this a fake out candle? At this point, no, if this candle breaks the highs, this becomes a pullback candle. If it breaks its own lows, at that point, this becomes a move down. So I'm executing. Entry down here will be below this. Stop loss will go above that. But if it breaks these highs, nah, not interested anymore. It's going to come all the way again. Stop playing about. So let's see now. At this point, you want this candle to break all lows, and an entry looks good for me. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But I'll only take one entry here. Just one entry, not two entries. Second entry below this. I don't want to take two entries just yet. But if you start breaking these highs, I'm closing my magic keys and I'm calling it a day. Okay, now you want to see these lows get broken? Fingers on the trigger. Fingers on the trigger. Fingers on the trigger. Let's go. Okay, nice bearish momentum at this point now. Because look, this candle over here can become your fake out candle at this point now. This bearish candle, this is your pullback candle, and this one's the actual move down. Let's see if you can get that. Stop loss obviously has to be above the structure, because I'm looking to hold this, but it needs to violate these lows with some sort of momentum, and I'm in this. I'm going to keep a big stop loss. But it needs to break these lows. The lows need to be broken. These lows over here need to be broken. Come on, gold. We're going to break the lows. At this point, look, it's either going to break the highs or the lows. So it will let you know what it wants to do. And let's see if we can get a nice drop to the downside at this point. Either it's going to retest the support area and start breaking all those highs, right? Or it's going to just play these lows at this point now. If you start breaking these highs, man, I'm closing magic keys, honestly. I'm going to call it a day at that point. If we start breaking all of these highs over here, at that point, this just becomes a pullback candle, explosive move all the way to the top side of the range, and then it's going to form a double top here, and it's just, our session's about to close, literally in a little bit. So I'm just not interested whatsoever at that point. This is our session about to close. So this is it now. I want to see the sells play out here. If we start clearing this range at this point now, we're going to come up to create a double top here, and then that's too late into my session, and I'm going to call it a day, guys, over here. So I want to see this area start holding at this point now, these highs. I want this area, this candle over here to become a pullback candle. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Break these lows and I'm in this position. I want this to become a pullback candle at this point now. So you don't want to see these highs get broken at this point. Otherwise, I'm closing my magic keys. If you break these highs, then I'm going to call it a day. I'm not waiting for this trade to play out anymore. It's too late into our session. So if we can get this setup playing out now, I'll be interested. Otherwise, it's too late into our session. Way too late into our session. So let's see what happens. So you're going to see a nice bearish candle kind of like breaking these lows. At that point, okay, I'll look to take a position here and then another position below this. Kind of like holding this, right? Because I can expect a big, massive push down. Until then, it's just going to form a double top here. And it's a Friday, too late into our session. I'm not looking for any more trades after that if we start clearing these highs. This will be my final sort of high that I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to close my magic keys and call it a day after this. If we start clearing these highs. Alright guys, you know what? It's starting to break these highs again now. I'm going to call it a day at this point now. Because it's just not looking good. literally, because entries are good down there, but it's just starting to violate these highs again now. Another time creating another high. At this point, it's just gonna come all the way up. So now I'll watch the markets, but I'm not looking to take any more trades. But I'll most definitely watch the markets, see if the double top sort of pattern can play out. But again, as I said, this was my last sort of area I was looking to take a trade from. Otherwise, it's just gonna come all the way to the top side, and it's too late into the session at this point now. I'm not interested. I'm just not interested whatsoever. Over here, you're gonna see your new 15-minute open as well. Then you got the new hourly coming. Very easily, you can get wicked as well. That's the thing. So I'm just gonna call it a day. Honestly, I'll accept a losing day. Because all it will take me is literally just sticking to one trade a day from Monday to kind of like come back to profits. That's all it's going to take me. So why would I take 10 trades right now when I can just take one nice trade on a Monday, another nice trade on a Tuesday? That's all it'll take. So let's see if we can form a double top here. For me, I'm not taking any more trades. Weapon edge. Oh, there we go. See, there we go. See that drop? That's it. That's it. That might be the news now. Imagine it might just start sinking now. But guys, I'm very disciplined at this point now. I've taken one trade and then I've had a losing trade, and that's it. I've taken trades and losing trades, and that's it. Game over. At this point, I don't care. Even if you form a double top here, do not care. Monday, I'll wait for Monday. It's a Friday. Don't want to take a lot of trades. It's all about being disciplined. Losing is part of the game. So if you can't accept a loss, you can't be a trader. Especially like price action has been so choppy for the past 2 weeks. Even this week was very choppy. So something like this, if you feel like, oh my God, you took a loss. No, I had a losing week. I had a losing month. You can't be a trader, man. You can't be if I can make in 2 weeks, if I can make 20% return on investment, and let's say for the past 2-3 weeks, I've been in a drawdown of 6-7%. Does that mean I'm a bad trader? No, that means I'm great at managing risk. And when my trades start to play out, I'm going to make like 10-20% return on investment in a week or two. It's all a game. It's all a game of patience and discipline. At this point now, this would have been the entry, but nah. Gotta be disciplined, guys. Gotta be disciplined. This would have been the entry though. This was the entry, guys. This was the entry. Oh, but yeah. At this point
still
now,
have a 0.5% allowance.
Nah. Even I do, but nah, it's too late into our session now. Way too late into our session. That's the thing. Have to trade within our session, right? Look, our session literally closes here now. It's too late into our session. It is what it is. That's the thing, right? Our session, what did we get? Let's see. Where did our session open? We got the move up, right? But we understand why we were not looking for the move up. It was very risky due to our... Okay, so this was our session. So obviously this is where we got the open, got a very nice pullback. At this point now, you got a nice bullish candle, another nice, and this candle just exploded, man. So there wasn't really any sort of confirmation. This candle just pushed up like 32 pips. Would you really want to trade this candle at this point now? Not really. When you have a key area right here. And then after that, you didn't even get any sort of pullbacks. These were the only pullbacks you got the double bottom here. At this point now, would you really want to take a buy position here? Okay, cool. Let's say you take a buy position here. Stop loss all the way there. Is your 1-to-1s even getting hit? Do you really want to hold this trade and like expect gold to form another new high? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. So the only positions that really do seem like they would have worked out. First position that I took was a good position, but unfortunately it wanted to form a new high, right? But it was a really good position. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a good position. I got wicked out because it was a tight stop loss. If I did keep my stop loss above the structure, it would have been a winning trade, right? Second position right here, which I was going to take, but Magic Keys didn't let me take. Again, would have been a winning position, this one here, but I didn't take it, right? And then after that, again, this position here didn't work out because I didn't like the break of this area. As I said, I wanted to see this area get respected, start creating new lows. At that point, I would have executed. But that's the thing, guys. You gotta see what you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with something, just call it a day, man. Call it a day. 1 to 2 trades a day. Simple as that. Very simple. If it's losing day, it's a losing day. You got Monday, you got Tuesday. But now if you lose everything today, then guess what? There is no Monday. There is no Tuesday. It's about surviving another day in the markets. But yeah, this is where you can see the sells starting to play out at this point, honestly. But very choppy session again we had. Very choppy session. Because look, let's say even if you did want to execute on the top of this, right? This was also your weekly high as well. You got to keep that in your mind up here somewhere, right? You had your weekly high up here somewhere. This is when our session started. And then weekly high, you had a massive rejection from there. You were expecting for price to form those new higher highs, right? But again, when you're approaching those wicks, either they become destinations. So when they become a destination, that means you can get a pullback, right? So you didn't see any sort of pullbacks. So the only pullback that you really did get was this. This was your leg down. At this point now, again, you could have, I guess, taken a position here with this engulfing candle, but let's say cool, you took a position here, keeping stops below the structure, I guess 28 pips, you would still be within this position actually, and you'll be in a drawdown now actually. And in order for your TP to get hit, it needs to create new highs. That's why we were looking for sells the whole time, but unfortunately our session was rangy once again. This was just a range. But when we do break out of the range, the sells will really play out. But again, man, I'm being disciplined. I'm not capitalizing on anything. I'm not taking anything. It needs to break these lows at this point. Anyway, guys, on the YouTube, we're going to call it a day. We'll be back on a Monday. It's a Friday. You don't want to overtrade. You don't want to over-risk. If you've taken 1 to 2 trades and they were losing trades, call it a day. As long as you haven't over-risked or over-leveraged. That's all that matters. And so we'll catch up with you guys